To be here amongst such an esteemed group of journalists and such a wonderful company in Seoul, Korea, which has been absolutely a joy to come and visit. The energy here for what we're doing with Steem, with Steemit, and what's going on in cryptocurrency generally here is really it's astounding. It's more energetic than anywhere I've seen in the world. So you know, hats off to you guys, and thanks for having me here today. So, you know, I figured I'd start today by answering, you know, a few questions about the vision and the mission, and then, you know, answering the question of what is Steemit, and then diving into, you know, what's underneath that question, the Steem blockchain and other concepts that are being worked on for Steem. So when I began Steem, you know, we had a lot of vision for cryptocurrency and for community building. And one of our theses was that we could use cryptocurrency to reward content creators, and those content creators being rewarded with cryptocurrency would also help grow the community and ultimately turn Steem, the currency, into a very desirable token and a very large community. As the Steem experiment has gone on for more than 2 years now, we've learned a lot about what makes a cryptocurrency successful, how to reward people, how to use cryptocurrency in conjunction with content to make quality content rise to the top of an interface like Steemit.com. Should I take a break or keep going?
That'd be great.
Okay, yes, I'll just take a break there. And so through everything we've learned over the last 2 years, we've been able to take our learnings and reapply that to you know, the vision for going forward and how we can scale the successful parts of Steem and create new successful features that work well in conjunction with what exists already today. And you know, part of bringing that back to the vision is that we really see that the internet and the content on the internet can be tokenized. So the company behind Steemit, Steemit Incorporated, we really believe that we can tokenize the internet through Steem, and that Steem is sort of the blockchain of opportunity. It opens up opportunity to entrepreneurs to integrate tokens into their websites. They can use the tokens to help fundraise for their business, to help monetize their content websites, and you know, there's the properties of these tokens that that help grow a community autonomously. And you know, our mission through that, over the next 5 years, we want to see more than 100,000 entrepreneurs come to the Steem blockchain to build their community and build their business. So with that, you know, I think that there's a lot of concepts and technology concepts inside Steemit and its underlying ecosystem. And so when people come to me and they say, what is Steemit? And I tell them, Steemit is the first social media platform built on a blockchain where there's cryptocurrency rewarding all the people participating. You know, I usually have to dive in and to give them a real explanation, to show them what's going on underneath Steemit. So that's why I've got this whiteboard here, so that we can draw out some of the concepts. So Steemit is going to appear somewhere up here. This is Steemit.com. We've got our articles, you know, we've got, you know, the value of the posts and all that, but what's making this actually work, right? And what's making it work is the blockchain, also with a similar name called Steem. So we can see that Steem is a sort of database. This is your database symbol here. And somehow Steemit.com sort of plugs into that, and there's data that's being read through Steemit.com, and also that's pushing data into Steem, the blockchain. You know, we have our users up here who are writing their blogs, right? And then Steemit.com is pushing that blog into the blockchain here. And somewhere in there, there's some magic that happens, and this person ends up getting rewarded with cryptocurrency called Steem, right? And so the way that works is that in the Steem blockchain here, there's another ledger, and this is the Steem cryptocurrency ledger in there. And what it's doing is it's sort of mapping the content, and what the blockchain does is it maps the content and the cryptocurrency together, and it also values the user's upvotes to figure out how much cryptocurrency should get paid out to the end user there. All right, so from here, some people are still wondering, okay, this seems very simple. Why is this possible today and it wasn't possible 10 years ago? Well, we need to look, to understand that, we need to look at what's supporting the blockchain technology here. So what's going on that makes this possible is there's a system of nodes or computers run by people outside of the blockchain. And so these nodes are all run by different people. This system refers to these block producers as witnesses. Thank you. And the witnesses are all communicating with each other. There's a communication relay going on at a very predictable algorithmic sequence. And they're basically all keeping track of all these actions inside the blockchain. And if any of them doesn't keep track of the transactions and the posts properly, then they get kicked out of their position. And the reason that they don't want to get kicked out of their position is because there's actually cryptocurrency being paid to all these block producers for running nodes that support the network. So that's why they don't want to get kicked out, because they want to be paid. They are incentivized to run nodes. This system here is called DPoS, which stands for Delegated Proof of Stake. And this is, relative to Bitcoin, which is, a predecessor system to Steem that uses proof of work. So we don't use proof of work here. We use delegated proof of stake, which is this. So from here, we have to look at, what the implications are for a system like this and a cryptocurrency like this. Well, on Steemit.com alone, we've seen the growth, the user growth, exceed more than 1 million accounts, and we're seeing Steemit.com's web traffic upwards of 10 million unique users per month. And a good portion of this, let's say, I don't know, that much, that's Korea. So Korea's, helping the growth a lot, which is great. One other implication of successful cryptocurrency inside websites is that lots of other entrepreneurs show up to see if they can build a website or application that integrates the cryptocurrency to also help their website be successful. So we have Steemit.com here, but there's other platforms, websites building on top. One is called DTube. So DTube is its own interface running here against the Steem blockchain. And the way that it runs is it runs a Steem node, just like these witness nodes, right? And it may have some other database layers in between to help caching and that sort of thing. And it's basically using Steem for two things. It's using the cryptocurrency portion because it wants its users to be rewarded with cryptocurrency for posting videos. And it's also using part of the content system. It's using the content management system to basically help organize the posts inside the application here. But it also leverages a different piece of technology called IPFS, which stands for Interplanetary File System. And it uses that to store the video content. So it's using two sort of decentralized systems to support a unique style of application. So I'll let you take it from there. So DTube is one example of another successful application on the Steem blockchain, but there's more. There's a live streaming site called DLive. There's another social site called busy.org. There's wallets, one's called Vessel. All in all, there's more than 350 applications, whether they be user interacting applications or stats-based applications built on the Steem blockchain. And so what that means is, an organization like Chosen, with all its content, web-based content properties, could potentially, create an outlet, that runs the infrastructure, and then plugs in to their website. So that could be the future. But at the same time, an organization like Chosun may be wondering, okay, well, how can we do a similar thing but with slightly different economics in the token? How can we ensure that journalists are rewarded? How can we ensure that commenters are rewarded? And to basically go into that realm of things, we've started working on another product for the Steem blockchain called Smart Media Tokens. So Smart Media Tokens is the idea that inside the Steem blockchain, anyone, any entrepreneur, will be able to approach the software and launch their own cryptocurrency. So let's call it, SMT1, or we could call it, the Chosun coin or something like that. But let's call this SMT1 for now. So someone comes along and they launch this token, and then they can integrate that token into any website that they want, whether it be DTube or even Steemit. Steemit could have multiple tokens running through it. But what makes this interesting is that this token will take on different properties from the Steem token. For instance, the Steem token uses what's called stake-weighted voting, right? And that has implications for how people use the token, how they reward content creators. Inside another Smart Media token, we could have account-based voting, which could create a very egalitarian community and ultimately have implications for how high-quality content can be rewarded and rise to the top of an interface. This is what can be truly revolutionary for the content space, where we see cryptocurrencies begin to influence how quality and good content is rewarded and made visible online. Right. So one of the ways this might be interesting to an organization like Chosun would be, let's say that the SMT1 is going to integrate into IT Chosun, and let's say that Chosun wants to use the coin or the token to reward its journalists. What it's going to do is it's going to create an Oracle-based system. So an Oracle system basically means you create a token where the token has a couple jobs built in, and the job is to whitelist accounts on the blockchain that are eligible for receiving rewards. So in this case, they would be whitelisting the account names of all the journalists that they want to have eligible for SMT1. So basically, you get your data structure here, and they're whitelisting account A, account B, and all these accounts are eligible for rewards, and then these people are coming in and writing content, and that content is showing up on IT Chosun because they've integrated it, and then only these people are eligible to receive the SMT reward. So in the future, this could be a model for basically rewarding anyone who's creating content anywhere, and organizations like Chosun or any other publication can begin to use it to basically see if there's better ways to reward really good content creation.
리스팅이라고 한 게 추가 부연드리면요, 화이트 리스트라고 인증받은 사람들만 해당하는 그런 부분입니다. 블랙리스트의 반대 개념이라고 보시면 됩니다.
So there you have it. That's Steem. And should we take any questions or anything? Ask about anything you like. Steem, the blockchain, Steem, the cryptocurrency, the Korean community, on Steemit, anything you like.
Signing up the users outside of the community, because the signing up process taking just too long, and you need some identification check kind of thing. So do you have any plan to make it easier or simpler?
We do. Sign up I view as the biggest bottleneck in basically advancing any of the concepts of Steamon or Steemit or DTube, any of the apps built on the Steem blockchain. So what we're doing now is we're going into the algorithms that basically decide how expensive it is to create new accounts. And we're reworking those so that it's possible that it doesn't continue to cost so much to create accounts. And we're also working on other interface tools that other apps can use to make the sign-up process easier, including invitations. So through an invitations program, people can be sort of pre-approved to come on board. Ultimately, you know, it's a challenge to get over that requires solutions from a few different layers, both the blockchain layer and the application layer. We're hard at work to fix it on both ends. And roll it out to all the apps, because it is a blocker, not just for Steemit, but for Steemon, and you know, we need to break that bottleneck.
Do you have any time frame for that? Or?
It's the thing we're working on right now, so expect some enhancements over the next couple months.
네, 잠깐 공지 좀 하겠습니다. 지금 한국말로 진행을 먼저 하고요. 그 다음에 이제 통역이 이루어져야 다 모든 분들이 들을 수 있을 것 같아서요. 지금 김동혁 대표님이 하셨으니까 지금 저희가 못 들어가지고요. 지금 이야기들을 잠깐 설명을 해주실 수 있을까요?
아까 전에 저희가 말씀드렸던 것처럼 이제 서드 파티 앱을 개발을 하면은 이제 외부 트래픽을 스팀잇으로 이제 사인업하는 프로세스가 지금 너무 오래 걸려서 이제 외부 트래픽을 데려오는 게 되게 어렵다고, 이제 여기에 대해서 개선할 방법이 있냐고 제가 질문을 했었고요. 제 답변 같은 경우에는 지금 뭐 워킹 중인 게 있고 몇 달 안에 이제 뭐 발표를 할 건데, 뭐 여러 가지 방향으로 이제 이거를 풀려고 한다는데, 그 중에 한 가지는 어떻게 그러니까 미리 이제 어떤 허가를 줘서 인비테이션 방식으로 이제 유저들을 바로바로 사인업 시킬 수 있게 하는 방식이나, 아니면 이제 지금은 뭐 계정 생성을 하는데 이제 코스트가 너무 많이 드는데 그 코스트를 내려서 이제 더 사인업 프로세스를 간소화하는 작업을 진행 중이라고 합니다.
네, 한국의 교육 분야 연세 창업가 시리얼 엔터프리너 김문수라고 합니다. 교육 분야의 콘텐츠를 SMT 기반으로 ICO를 준비 중에 있는데, 에픽스에 이어서 SMT의 런칭 일정을 여쭙고 싶습니다.
SMT will be launched this year through its first iteration, and it's like it's my biggest priority, you know. So we're really working hard on it, and it should be out this year.
저는 김용민이라고 합니다. 근데 제가 궁금한 거는 스팀잇이 지금 세계에 있는 블록체인 비즈니스 중에는 가장 사업화가 잘 되어 있는 모델이라고 생각하는데요. 그렇지만 다른 분들한테 비난받는 게 자체적으로 수익을 내지는 못하고 있지 않느냐. 그러다 보니까 어떤 사람들은 폰지 사기다라는 얘기까지 하는데, 스팀잇 자체에서 그런 수익 사업을 하실 생각은 없는지, 그리고 했으면 좋겠습니다. 저는.
I'm Kim Yong-min. I see that Steemit is a very successful blockchain business, and it's quite a successful business model. But to be honest, your company is not really creating profit for your own profit. So I want to know if you have any plans to make it a profitable business, and I wish you are creating profit.
Right. Sure. So profit is imperative to sustainable business. Right, so we've had to build a profit model into how these tokens work, how the Steem token works here, right? And there has to be a profit model so that other applications show up to build on top. And what we're using now is what's called rewards sharing. So applications like DTube can say, if there's 100 Steem tokens that are generated through this app that come out through here into the user's hands here, they can take 15%, or they can take 5%. And they can use that flow of tokens and their rake on the tokens to create a new revenue model. As long as the token has value, as they're taking that token in, it's revenue that can help them sustain operations and potentially have profit. So that's a model for new applications that build and use Steem the token and use SMT, and Steemit.com could eventually use that model as well.
수익을 창출하는 것은 한 회사가 지속 가능 위해서 꼭 필요합니다. 그리고 수익성 모델도 꼭 필요하기 때문에 저희가 그런 시스템을 지금 디튜브에서 한번 테스팅을 해보고 있고 사용하고 있습니다. 예를 들어서 리워드 쉐어링 시스템, 즉 보상을 분배하는 시스템인데요. 디튜브에서 예를 들어서 100개의 스팀 토큰이 발행이 되고 생성이 됐다면 요즘에 5%에서 15% 정도는 매출 모델을 만드는데 사용할 수도 있고 스팀잇닷컴에서도 그것을 사용하는 것을 생각하고 있습니다.
So token systems don't necessarily replace ads, and it's not actually a byline that we use. We're not saying that we're replacing the advertising business at all. Tokens simply augment, the existing content models. Potentially, will take some of the the share of the market, and some websites may be able to sustain without ads in the future. But yeah, in our current state, we don't need to use ads, so we're not necessarily thinking about it. I think building an ad-free experience today is working for us, and we can do that for the next several years easily. So we'll keep moving that way. But as entrepreneurs launch smart media tokens and perhaps are using their own websites, they may pursue the ad model. In fact, I know that DTube is looking at doing an advertising model already today. So although they're doing the reward sharing model, they're also looking at the ad model. Both things in combination may make their business even more successful, even more profitable, even more sustainable. So I don't think that we're replacing the revenue models of the old, but we're sort of augmenting the experience and perhaps making a much greater experience by having a hybrid.
예, 잠시 공지 좀 하겠습니다. 저희가 앞으로 1시간 동안 Q&A를 할 거여서 저희가 세팅 좀 하고 바로 진행하겠습니다. 여기 앞에 의자 놔주시고요. 네.
안녕하세요. 저는 최민성이라고 하고요. 최민성이라고 하고 저는 한국에서 변호사로 활동 중인데 법률 컨텐츠를 이제 생산하고 그런 플랫폼을 운영하는 데 관심이 있어서 여기 참석하게 되었습니다. 그 플랫폼 스팀잇도 결국 플랫폼 사업으로 보이는데 플랫폼 사업에 있어서 처음에 이런 비즈니스 모델을 생각하시게 된 계기도 궁금하고요. 그다음에 스팀잇만의 마케팅 전략이 있으신지 혹시 공유가 가능하신지 궁금합니다.
So what got me interested in the space first was Bitcoin. The luckiest thing that ever happened to me was I became obsessed with Bitcoin, and I had to learn all about it, figure out why it works, and eventually decided I needed to begin a project in this space. And my background was in psychology and economics, understanding people's motivations. And so when we looked to build a project, I wanted to build something that would cause a new set of behaviors. That was perhaps positive in the world. And also, being inspired by Bitcoin, part of the goal is building a cryptocurrency that catches on and is successful and is empowering people through all the greater freedoms that cryptocurrency can provide. So that's really where my motivation came from. I wanted to create a system that was going to positively impact people. We baked a lot of potential learning into Steam as an experiment. There's lots of different new technology in there, and we've learned kind of what's worked. And we didn't know what was going to work when we started. We just, I just felt that if we did something, if we launched a currency that could upgrade over time, that we would find things that work, and we could play to what turned out to be our strengths. In leveraging the cryptocurrency to grow the community, and now we're parlaying that into helping others launch their own similar types of cryptocurrencies called smart media tokens. But the business model really relies on the speculation that's involved in crypto assets. There has to be traders involved. There has to be people buying and selling coins for them to have value. So one of the interesting things in the space is just that there is so much speculation for these assets that represent how large is the community behind a token. So you want to create a token that gives people a reason to get involved in the token as a community. So in the legal sense, in the law sense, thinking about starting a community of legal counsel, you should be thinking about how the token will interact with compelling content, that has to do with law and the specific topics that you want to cover.
안녕하세요. 그 스팀으로 사람들이 손쉽게 소액 결제를 할 수 있게 솔루션을 만들고 있는 임현민이라고 합니다. 다름 아니라 지금 요즘 SMT에 대해서 사람들이 많은 관심을 갖고 있는데 그 기존의 스팀의 스팀 베스트랑 이번에 나오는 SMT랑 어떤 관계가 있는지 좀 기술적으로 아니면 아예 없는지 그러면 신규 스팀만 그 이런 SMT에 들어갈 때 필요한 건지 그 기존 베스트랑 어떤 관계가 있는지 좀 설명해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
So Vests is basically an accounting system on the blockchain, and it's not a very user-friendly accounting system, right? But also the functionality of Vests is to give influence to the people who are holding the Steam token. Now, as we've ventured into the SMT concept, the smart media token concept, we've realized that there's still a very strong need to have a vesting contract for the SMT, and the more colloquial term for vests is power, right? You power up, power down. SMTs will have that same functionality. So an SMT, you will power it up, you'll power it down. It's not related to Steam's version of vests. Each SMT has its own vesting system, its own lock and unlock smart contract built in.
기술적인 부분이라 제가 좀 많이 얘기하는 게 나을 것 같은데요. SMT, 죄송합니다. 베스트, 스팀 파워라는 게 비록 사용자 친화적인 그런 요소는 아니지만은 사용자들을 하여금 스팀과 그런 스팀을 보유토록 하는 기능을 하고 또 그 외에도 여러 가지 중요한 기능을 담당한답니다. 그래서 SMT도 거기에 대한 필요가 아주 존재하고요. 그 SMT, 소위 말하는 그 파워라는 베스트 파워라는 부분은 각각 SMT가 그들만의 고유한 파워, 그러니까 베스트 버전을 갖게 된다고 합니다. 그래서 제가 조금 이렇게 의역을 드리자면 아까 SMT1이 있으면 SMT1 베스트라고 해서 SMT1 파워가 각각 존재하고 SMT2는 또 2 파워가 있고 이런 식으로 만들겠다고 합니다.
Yes.
It's only for Steam. But if you want SMT, you got to have Steam to best in those SMTs, right? So technically, the best we have in Steam doesn't really matter with SMTs. It's always going to be Steam, right? Steam is the one that you need, right?
SMTs, the way that they'll interact with Steam doesn't necessarily involve vests at all. The way that it begins to involve Steam is first potentially through the ICO contract. So whenever an SMT is created, you can launch it with a programmed ICO. The ICO accepts liquid Steam, so you have to send liquid Steam and not vested Steam. And then once it's there, all sorts of other things happen. Does that answer the question?
I understand. So my question was, I guess in a way, there's more demand for Steam because people need it for actually trying to make SMT.
Yes.
At the same time, if you have Vest in Steam, you don't. So what I was trying to think was, if you're an investor and you have a lot of Vest, what is your best case? Like, would you be more wise to actually get Steam powered down and try to get into those SMTs, or just stay with Steam and just have Vest? Because you're going to get continuous conflict of interest. So that's what I was trying to see. Which is best for people who actually hold Vest.
So that's an experiment we'll have to see play out. But ultimately, I think that the people are going to do both. And I think that SMTs bring a lot of value to Steam as well, because Steam ends up being the sort of backbone currency to everything. It's used to calculate the bandwidth limits that you're allowed to use in SMTs. So it's essentially like the gas of Steam, and it's what you need to have to basically charge up all your ability to interact with SMTs.
혹시 저도 전문적으로 하는 게 아니라가지고 혹시 틀리면 정정 부탁드릴게요. 질문하신 게 제가 봐서 스팀을 갖고 있으면 이제 ICO 하고 이렇게 답을 했지만은 베스트를 갖고 있을 때 SMT 전혀 참여를 못하고 이게 SMT 동 떨어져가지고 의미가 없는 게 아니냐 하는 의도로 거의 그런 맥락으로 말씀해주신 거로 이해가 됐고요. 저도 그래서 레드가 말한 경우는 이제 스팀으로 ICO 할 때는 리퀴드 스팀, 그러니까 일반 스팀을 필요로 하고 하지만은 이제 베스트 그 SMT가 있을 때 성공적으로 됐을 때 스팀 전체 가치가 올라가기 때문에 베스트를 갖고 있음에도 비록 뭐 SMT랑 연관 없지만은 그 자체의 베스트 가치는 올라가고 그럼으로써 충분히 보유의 이유가 될 수 있다. 이렇게 답변을 줬습니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 전상우라고 합니다. 아까 설명하실 때 스팀잇에 작성되는 호스트들도 다 블록체인 위에 올라간다고 이제 설명을 이제 들었는데, 그게 일반적인 글 작성되는 것들은 일반적인 그런 서버 클라이언트 모델처럼 서버에 저장이 되고 운영되는 생태계만 토큰 시스템을 통해서 운영이 되게 하면 이런 트랜잭션 소화라던가 이런 면에서 더 도움이 될 수도 있을 것 같은데, 그거를 꼭 굳이 블록체인으로 올려서 관리를 하는 것들이 있는지, 그리고 저도 SMT로 나올 에픽스를 되게 기대 많이 하고 있는데요. 그것도 그러면 마찬가지로 모든 작성되는 미디어 컨텐츠들이 블록체인 위로 올라가서 관리가 되게 되는 건지 궁금합니다.
So the content that's stored in the Steem blockchain is only the text. So no video, no pictures, just text, and it's text that's coming through in a very formatted way. The Steem blockchain offers a sort of content management system. There's primitives that dictate how content should be structured inside the blockchain itself. So what this does is actually makes it helpful for applications that want to build on top of the Steem blockchain. They can leverage those content management system primitives to figure out exactly how to structure the data inside their website in ways that shares structure with all the other websites that are building on top. So now there's a shared layer of data and infrastructure that's very compatible. What this does is it creates great redundancy. It means that when you build an application on top of the Steem blockchain, your users' data can never disappear. They always know that they have access to all the hard work that they put in through an application. If for some reason an application fails, they can always port their activity over to a competing application on the Steem blockchain. So the data has to be there to offer this sort of redundancy, to make applications of cryptocurrency more consumer friendly and consumer safe. Without the feature of redundancy for content, a lot of the infrastructure that backs up these applications and makes the cryptocurrency valid, just wouldn't be there. So it's really important to have the content system married to the cryptocurrency system in this case.
블록체인을 공부하는 김돈정이라고 합니다. 예. 잘 몰라서 질문일 수도 있는데요. 기본적으로 블록체인이 이제 탈중앙화를 지향하고 있는 거라고 볼 때, 지금 스팀잇에서도 소수의 증인들이 어떻게 보면 보팅 파워를 어떻게 보면 집중화됐다라는 이슈도 있다라고는 들었습니다. 그런데 지금 SMT를 계속 만들게 되면 서비스를 만들고 싶은 사람들한테는 굉장히 좋은 솔루션을 제공하는 거지만, 그게 또 하나의 스팀을 중심으로 한 어떻게 보면 중앙화를 만드는 건 아닌지, 그런 비판에 대해서는 어떻게 생각하시는지 질문 드리고 싶습니다.
Okay, so yeah, inside these token systems, one way we're working away from singular powers inside these token systems, where there's a system of rewards where people need to be rewarded, is through a system of account-based voting rather than stake-weighted voting. So we haven't seen account-based voting inside tokens yet. So inside these systems, we're going to have account-based voting rather than stake-based voting, and that should alleviate any concerns about people basically possessing greater amounts of power inside of a token, because account-based systems, that means one account, one vote, rather than one coin, one vote. So it's not about how much coin you have, it's about, are you a person or are you not a person?
SMT에서는 계정 기반 보팅을 사용할 것입니다. 지금 현재 스팀에선 지분 보팅이 사용되고 있는데 결국엔 SMT에서는 코인 하나당 보트가 하나 있는 것이 아니라 계정 하나당 보팅이 하나이기 때문에 중앙화로 다시 돌아간다는 우려는 조금 걱정하지 않으셔도 될 것 같습니다.
SMT 내에서는 그럴 수 있는데 어쨌든 스팀을 중심으로 톡스라는 스팀이 중앙화가 되는 건 아니에요.
So that can be true with the SMT-based systems platforms, but Steemit is ultimately controlling everything. Don't you think everything will be centralized at Steemit?
So Steemit, we have to break that concept down. Steemit is two things: one a website and one a company. Steemit is not Steem the blockchain. We don't run the nodes that operate the blockchain. They're run by a whole group of distributed, elected individuals, and they're all elected by the community holders of the Steem coin, which is not Steemit the company. So Steemit is a website, one of many websites built on a decentralized blockchain, and the blockchain is powered by delegated proof of stake.
네, 안녕하세요. 댄 라이머가 이오스 기반에서 소셜 플랫폼을 만든다고 얘기하는 것을 들었는데 혹시 소셜 플랫폼으로서 스팀잇이 후발 주자들을 견제할 만한 좀 특별한 기술적인 아니면 또 다른 무엇인가가 있는지 그 점이 좀 궁금합니다.
So what you're seeing is there's basically two types of blockchain structures out there. You have blockchain structures where the smart contracts are application specific, where basically the designers of the blockchain say, we have an idea for what can be the most effective business logic or smart contracts built into the blockchain. That's what we've done with Steem. And then you have general purpose blockchains where they incorporate a virtual machine that allows sort of any contracts to be written there. But there are trade-offs. When you create the general purpose vehicle, the virtual machine, suddenly the blockchain can't subsidize and tune other aspects of the blockchain to make the contracts better. In an application-specific blockchain like Steem, for instance, the bandwidth rate limiting algorithms can be tuned specifically to make the smart contracts of SMTs function extraordinarily well. In a general purpose platform like Ethereum or EOS, that can't be done because there's a myriad of contracts and they can't pay special attention to specific contracts. That's why you're already seeing lots of clones of these virtual machine-based blockchains, because the entrepreneur, the savvy entrepreneur, realizes that they can't get a first-class experience for their tokens using a general purpose platform. To get a first-class experience, they need to use an application-specific blockchain.
네, 안녕하세요. 고맙습니다. 방문해 주셔서. 저는 철학을 하고 있고요. 스팀 생활을 즐기고 있는데 스팀잇 같은 경우에 아마 최초로 실질적으로 상용화되고 운영되는 블록체인 기반 서비스라고 제가 느끼고 있고요. 근데 이제 그 와중에 어뷰징 문제가 제기됐던 것 같습니다. KR 커뮤니티를 중심으로 어뷰징, 남용. 그러니까 거래소에서 많은 돈을 주고 스팀 파워를 사가지고 이제 보팅 풀이라든지 셀프 보팅 이런 것들을 통해 가지고 결국 커뮤니티 내에 컨텐츠 생산에는 별로 기여하지 않으면서도 어떤 수익을 창출하려는 그런 시도들이 계속 이어지고 있고 아마 이 사용자들이 이제 늘어날수록 그런 일이 예상되는데 시스템적으로 그런 부분을 어떻게 예방한다든지 어떤 그에 대한 남용에 대한 방지책을 혹시 최초 단계에서 얼마나 구상하셨는지 문제 궁금합니다.
When we started Steem, we were thinking about how the cryptocurrency could be distributed pretty much to people creating good content. Really baking in measures so that there's not abuse or taking advantage of the cryptocurrency as it's distributed. But what we found is that we didn't have all the correct algorithms in there. And so now, luckily, we can look at Steem as a cryptocurrency still as a fair system. Just it doesn't offer the same benefits to content creators as we planned and hoped that it would. And so part of the reason for going after smart media tokens is to go back in and create tokens that are similar to Steam but iterated upon. They have refined parameters such as whitelists and account-based voting so that everyone competes from the same part of the playing field, so that no specific person has an advantage because they hold, for instance, more coins. They have the same opportunity to find and curate good content. So the content creator competes on a fair playing field to be rewarded for good content. So we made great progress with Steam, but now to really get to where we want to go with rewarding content creation, we need to go into the SMT experiment.
처음에 시작할 때 저희는 암호화폐를 양질의 콘텐츠를 생성한 사람들에게 보상을 하는 것을 그런 서비스를 주목했습니다. 하지만 저희가 원했던 목적을 이루기에 알고리즘이 부족하다는 것도 깨달았고, 그래서 저희가 SMT로 고개를 돌린 겁니다. 스팀과 비슷하지만 화이트리스트나 계정 보팅 시스템을 사용하기 때문에 모두에게 동등한 기회가 주어지고, 누가 코인을 더 많이 보유하고 있다고 해서 더 많은 영향력을 가지고 이런 시스템을 저희가 없애고자 했던 것입니다. 그래서 결국에는 다시 SMT를 통해서 정말로 양질의 콘텐츠를 만드는 사람들에게 더 많은 보상을 제공하고자 하는 것이 저희 목적입니다.
There's been a number of proposals to create, different, basically pools of bandwidth and voting power allowance to both upvoting and downvoting. So if there are separate systems, you might see people more willing to downvote. Currently, there's a cost to downvoting. It's an opportunity cost because you might be better off just upvoting instead of spending any of your upvotes as downvotes. So. Potentially there are some solutions prior to SMT there.
네, 지금 저도 이거 같이 얘기를 하던 중이어서 좀 더 자세히 알고 있는데요. 지금은 업버팅 할 때만 큐레이션 리워드를 받을 수 있는데, 이제 거기서 다운버팅 하는 사람들은 큐레이션 리워드를 전혀 받을 수 없는 시스템입니다. 근데 다운버팅 풀이라고 얘기한 거는 다운버팅한 것에 대해서 또 리워드를 줄 수 있는 풀을 별개로 만들어 가지고 다운버팅도 인센티브 시스템 중 하나로 들어가게 하자. 그렇게 해서 이제 업버팅, 다운버팅, 밴드위스를 이제 다 각각 분리를 해가지고 풀을 만들어서 관리를 함으로써 좀 더 해결 방법 찾을 수 있지 않겠냐 하고 하는 맥락이 있습니다.
Well, currently, the threat to that is downvoting for sure. It's the one way to combat that, and I think you raise a good point. Maybe we need more propensity to punish that behavior if we don't want to see it. And so that's one possibility, but also going towards smart media tokens and account-based voting is also going to be a solution.
네, 안녕하세요. 서울에서 선유기지라는 카페를 운영하고 있습니다. 그 스팀페이라는 결제 툴로 그 스팀 달러로 결제를 받고 음료랑 상품을 제공하고 있는데요. 그래서 저는 실물 경제랑 그 스팀이랑 연결하는 게 스팀을 알리고 스팀잇의 신규 유입을 늘릴 수 있다고 생각하는데, 이런 스팀 그 결제 툴을 지원하실 생각은 없는지 궁금합니다.
So Steam is in a lot of ways already a great payment system. No fees on transactions, pretty much instant speed for sending it. It's better than pretty much every cryptocurrency out there for payments. I think one of the struggles with seeing it adopted in as a settlement currency like that is just that cryptocurrency as a general economic development is really fulfilling the need as a sort of store of value. You know, people are seeing, the idea that they can hold these assets that aren't seizable, exist on a decentralized network is something very attractive for them. In a lot of the ways that gold and precious metals have been of the past, I think that we're now entering into an era that, we're exposed to an asset class that has a lot of those properties, but serves them to us even better. So in my view, store of value for cryptocurrency, is a major bet for me. I think it's a shoo-in that in 10 years, cryptocurrency is something that everyone views as a way to, maintain value in their personal lives. So I think, the marketplace where we're using cryptocurrency to settle for goods and services will come later. I think that as cryptocurrency becomes the sort of ubiquitous store of wealth for everybody, people will have more propensity to use it to buy goods and services like coffee and that sort of thing. So I do expect that activity to ramp up, and I think that that Steem is a prime candidate for being one of the best to serve that use case.
네, 현재 블록체인 기술 서비스 기업 에피토미시엘에 다니고 있는 유영훈이라고 합니다. 이제 스팀 블록체인을 기반으로 앞으로 뭐 많은 덱들이 나올 거고 이번 SMT로 화제가 되어서 앞으로 더 많은 팀들이 준비를 할 텐데 혹시 지금 현재 스팀 블록체인의 확장성에 만족을 하는지 아니면 다른 기술적 솔루션을 준비 중인 게 있는지 궁금합니다.
I'm feeling very good about the theoretical scalability of Steem, and going through and actually being a company that works on the blockchain software Steem, but also supports a blockchain application in Steemit.com. We get to experience both sides of the scalability challenges. We get to see the throughput challenges on the blockchain, where we actually haven't seen really any issues. Theoretically, we're still in smooth sailing territory and can continue to scale up to higher and higher levels. Just using delegated proof of stake rather than proof of work opens up a lot of possibilities there. But still, we are facing some challenges there. We do want to move to a modular style blockchain where lots of these different contracts have their own basically processing unit in the blockchain so that operations can be processed in parallel. And that should theoretically improve scalability of the blockchain layer even more. At the application level with Steemit.com, we're going through all sorts of exercises now to basically cache and basically look at blockchain-based data in sort of buffered blockchain layers. There's sort of a middleware of data between the blockchain and the interface that we're building. So there's a caching layer. There's other tools for keeping track of account balances and stats and all that sort of thing. And having that middle layer between the blockchain and the website allows us to continue building a faster experience at the application. I think going on into the future, as we finally begin to see more and more blockchain-based applications, we'll see that this is a major area of development in this ecosystem that a lot of companies just haven't arrived at yet. So I think that a lot of literature should be published on what we're doing here, and yeah, I expect we will.
안녕하세요. 개발자 박세계라고 합니다. 스팀 지금 제가 보기로 스팀의 컨텐츠 퀄리티가 거의 모든 SNS 통틀어서 지금 가장 높은 것 같거든요. 특히 이제 어쨌든 한국말로 찾을 때는 거의 다 구글링에 보면은 다 스팀에서 튀어나와요. 근데 이 팀의 핵심도 컨텐츠 질이고, 근데 이걸 약간 가로막는 게 뭐냐면은 그 7일 제한인 것 같아요. 그래서 이 7일 제한이 질문이 어떻게 보면 동시에 두 가지인데요. 7일 제한 때문에 벌어지는 게 7일 뒤면은 이제 수정이나 삭제가 완전 불가능이니까 노출을 내릴 수도 없고, 이제 그런 것 때문에 그 사람들이 뭔가 글 올리는 거를 조금 더 꺼리는 이제 그런 부분도 있고, 그리고 그 저작권에 대한 위험성도 일단 훨씬 더 존재를 하고요. 그러니까 무슨 그 태클이 걸렸을 때 그걸 내릴 수 있는 방법 자체가 없는, 그래서 사람들이 글 올리는 거를 좀 조심스러워하는 그 장벽이 하나 또 있고, 그리고 이 내가 더 양질의 글을 정성스럽게 쓰고 싶어도 일주일만 에너지를 내가 사용해야지라는 생각을 먼저 하게 되거든요. 그러니까 최대 내 이 글에 쏟는 그러니까 전체적인 평균질은 굉장히 높은데 그 예를 들면 미디움이나 어떤 다른 매체를 보면은 그 최고 고퀄리티의 글들은 거기가 훨씬 많거든요. 왜냐하면 거기는 그냥 무작정 써내려가니까. 근데 여기는 그 7일 제한이라는 보상에 걸려가지고 그 이제 그런 내 혼을 완전히 쏟을 수 없는 이제 그런 장벽이 있어서 혹시 그런 거, 그러니까 이게 기술적으로 메모리 때문에 그런 문제가 있다라는 거는 인지는 하고 있거든요. 근데 어찌 됐든 그걸 어떻게 우회적으로 풀 수 있는 어떤 그런 방법을 생각하는 게 있는지 궁금합니다.
I view the inability to edit after 7 days as a bug that needs to be fixed, and it will be in short order. You know, but that doesn't necessarily address you know, the issue of content being out there somewhere on someone's node. You know, an edit on the blockchain isn't really an edit so much as is creating a new post that sort of respectively lies on top of the old post. But the old post can still be accessed if you run the node and look up the old data. So ultimately, the idea of putting content on a blockchain makes it pretty difficult to think about truly, you know, erasing posts ever. But it's important that applications, that interfaces respect copyright law and find ways to respond to takedown notices that are legally compliant. Steemit.com does this. We respond to DMCA. And yeah, so I think if we fix the 7-day bug, allow people to be in more control of their editing, right, to inform interfaces to take down content, that solves a big part of the issue. But ultimately, I think you know, people also should be, you know, cognizant that they are posting on a blockchain, and this data is going to stay in there. I think it's a new, in a way, it's a new paradigm that's you know, just something that the consumer should be made aware of. But ultimately, we're getting a lot of benefit from the persistence of content. So currently, I don't see a way for us to exist in both worlds of you know, basically censorability and no censorability. So I think we're in a new type of experiment of no censorability, and you know, using interfaces that respect copyright, we can find a happy medium, I hope. Oh, so I actually, he told me that we're talking about the rewards. Yeah. Right. And so yeah, so the restriction exists there basically to deal with the memory issues, you know, and scalability. We want to maintain scalability. I think that, you know, a couple things we should recognize. My view is that token rewards don't necessarily replace things like ad revenue. And we have seen other platforms go down the experiment of rewarding content creators with ad revenue. And one good thing about ad revenue is that it's kind of got an evergreen quality to it. As long as the content is out there, it can be generating ad revenue. And if there's an ad split, that means that the author could always be rewarded. The difference with tokens in this system is that basically in the most native structure, that reward possibility ends after 7 days. There are some hacks that a developer could use that basically continues to keep that content eligible. They can resubmit a post to the blockchain using a new original post, and basically use the interface to basically hide any of the breaks in those days. You could just have an interface respect an automatically recurring posting potentially. But ultimately, I think we need to recognize that, you know, this isn't necessarily an ad-based system. So we should be looking at how tokens can augment the experience, you know, that we've seen on Web 2.0 in the past generations. And then maybe if we have hybrid systems, we can really make the authors happy. But more experimentation is needed for sure.
네, 이상으로 오늘 행사를 마치도록 하고요. 네드 가고 나서 한 30분 정도 여기 스팀이온 분들이랑 네트워킹 할 시간 드릴 테니까요. 네, 그렇게 아시면 되겠습니다. 네, 네드랑 전체사진 찍을 테니까 여기 앞으로 나와주시면 되겠습니다.